Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Izzy, and this is the Redzone Report live right here on the Built in Buffalo YouTube, Facebook, and X channels. You can catch me every Sunday right here and talking Bills football all day long. So, guys, we're here to talk about the last free agents the Buffalo's brought in. The roster is filling in. And, Brandon Beane is doing what he does and, brings in players that are depth players and or guys who are special teamers and or guys who are competing to start. So, you know what it is. Let's talk about it. Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Izzy, and this is the Built in Buffalo Red Zone Report live every Sunday. And I'm your host, Izzy, as you know. The Buffalo Bills made a few more signings. They brought in some familiar faces, Damar Hamlin and Trent Sherfield. They also brought in a couple of offensive linemen. They brought in Lloyd Cushenberry, and they brought in Austin Corbett. Now, the Cushenberry, Sherfield, and Corbett signings all came on the 26th of March, and Damar Hamlin's came the day after on the 27th. Now, Damar Hamlin's been here for a while, right? He's been a Buffalo Bill for a long time, and we're all familiar with who and what Damar Hamlin is. And, a lot of Bills fans are underwhelmed with the signing of Damar Hamlin. I think that we all can agree that we all know exactly who and what Damar Hamlin is. Damar Hamlin is a depth level safety. He is a tackler. He's a good tackler, but he's a liability in coverage. All right, let's just be frank with it. He is a liability in coverage, and he is someone who I guess Bills fans are saying that his time here has come and gone. And some are saying he's a camp body, and some are saying that he's going to make the team, and some say that he is whatever, like I think that Trent Sherfield, that Damar Hamlin has some things to offer, maybe on special teams. If you need safety in a pinch, he's a guy who can come in as solid depth, and he's also a guy who I would say knows the scheme well, but that's not the case anymore. He's no longer a guy who was with the Bills during, the Jim Leonard era. So he's going to go in here brand new and not really being familiar with, the scheme. So he's going to learn just like everybody else, just like Cole Bishop, just like Terrell Bernard and Dorian Williams and Maxwell Hairston, not Cole. I already said Cole Bishop. Christian Benford, the entire defensive line, for example, are going to have to learn how to play in this new 3-4 scheme. And the question is, how often are we going to be in base? If we're running the 2-4-5, which is basically the same thing as a 4-2-5, except your edge rushers are standing for the most part. You run a big front, then you're running, one outside linebacker and then one defensive end. Otherwise you'll be running two defensive tackles, basically like a Ed Oliver and a Deion Walker, or whatever other big man we decide to bring in, and you still have your two edge rushers, which would be Greg Rousseau and Michael Hoyt, or whoever else they bring in, or Bradley Chubb. So the way that they mix and match things is going to be pretty interesting to me. I think that it's going to be, fun to see. And I guess I would say I am hopeful that the Buffalo Bills, how you say, know what they're doing when it comes to the defensive personnel, right? Because Brandon Beane's been drafting and signing for a 4-3 this entire time, and now we're shifting to the 3-4. It's gonna be a world of difference in base formation, and we did see a lot more base formation from Sean McDermott this past year. We saw a lot more 3 linebackers, 4 down linemen, but Sean McDermott's gone, and Jim Leonard has stated that we're gonna be running, an even man front quite often. We're gonna be running 4-2-5 or 2-4-5 quite a bit. So the philosophy, I think, and the terminology is going to be the biggest learning curve for these guys, right? They're going to have to learn all new terminology from Jim Leonard's style, coming from Sean McDermott's. Then you're going to look at the philosophy. They say this is going to be more of an attacking defense versus a more traditional bend but don't break like Sean McDermott like to run. Sean McDermott did do quite a bit of blitzing, but I think that Bills fans are looking forward to more aggression. Let me get to some of these comments real quick. My man Jacob Spears, welcome back, Jacob. Love you, buddy. Hope you're doing good. My man Keith Boomhauer, let's go. Sunday blessings, go Bills. Sunday blessings indeed. God bless everybody. The lady Sandra L. King in the building as always. Thank you, Sandra. You weren't first today, but you're still here. And you're on YouTube as well. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. My man Kim, it's a whole new ball game with the 3-4. It is. You have a jack linebacker now, which you don't in a 4-3. You have a nose tackle, which you don't in a 4-3. In the 4-3, you generally speaking run a 1-tech defensive tackle, which is your big fat bastard in the middle. In the 3-4, you run a 0-tech nose tackle, which is usually a bigger guy than a 1-tech, but 1-techs can be pretty big. You see some pretty big ones out there, and you see guys who can play both nose and 1-tech. So the changes we see will be telling. My man Christopher Roseborough back. Hey Izzy. Hey Chris, how you doing? John Robert, depth and still 190 players for not even training camp yet. DeMar, okay. What position do you think they draft first? We're going to get to that because this affects that. So do you believe that we should still draft another safety despite us having Hamlin another year? Yes. Because if you look at it at safety, we only have 2 safeties who are signed beyond this year, Cole Bishop and Sam Franklin Jr. And Sam Franklin Jr. is not really a safety. He's a safety by position, but he doesn't play defense. He's a special teamer, right? Let's be real here. If you need him to go out there in a pinch, he might be able to do it. But honest to God, he's really a special teams player. He's a Steve Tasker. Steve Tasker was a wide receiver. Rarely ever saw him play wide receiver. It's one of those deals. It's not like Reggie Gilliam where he saw a lot of snaps on the offense and he was a 4-phase special teamer. He was a different thing, and replacing him is probably going to be one of the harder things to do. But if they believe Jackson Hawks can do it, that's one less roster spot that you have to hold. You said you carry 3 tight ends, or if they want, they can bring in a 4th. I don't know if that's necessary, because you still have Alec Anderson, who can play the 6th offensive lineman if he's not the winner of the guard battle. And you also brought in a couple of offensive linemen who can also probably do that. And you still have Tylen Grable. We lost Ryan Vandermark, but Tylen Grable beat him a couple years ago for the job. So we're going to see. I'm actually pretty pumped for how this offensive line battle goes, because one of the guys we're going to talk about today is a guard/center, so he can play both spots. He can play basically everywhere on the offensive line, but he's best at guard. And he played, I think most of his time at right guard, but he is capable of playing left guard very well, and he's also very capable of playing center. So we'll get to him in a little bit. Sandra, yes, I do. Yes, you do. Happy Sunday, Sandra. Let's go. My man, John Robert, Kaliki Latu could replace Reggie Gilliam. That's very possible. I think they like what they saw from Kaliki Latu. I liked what I saw from Kaliki Latu. I think he actually showed himself very well and that's promising. You bring the guy who's undrafted, he sits in your practice squad. Later in the year, you activate him a couple times so that way you can see what he's got, and he catches the ball. He didn't drop any passes from what I remember. He got open. He blocked well enough, and is he an elite tight end? No, but you're not looking for an elite tight end. You're looking for a guy who can possibly go in there and be your fullback. So he could be a guy that they put the FB/tight end designation. There you go. So can we get some help on defense, please? I think that's what the draft is going to be. Honestly, I think the draft is going to be defense, defense, defense. I think that the Bills are going to go probably defensive tackle in the first round, depending on who's available. If it's Katie McDonald or any of these other big fat guys that belong there. If not, then if he goes before us, you could look in the third round, maybe move up into the second round, or we can move back, and draft a guy like Corleone, who I've talked about, who I really like. But there are guys to be had in this draft, and I think a trade back is the most likely situation the Buffalo Bills will find themselves in. We'll probably do a mock during the show, but I kind of can't wait to see what they do in the draft, because this right here tells me we lost David Edwards. We brought in a guy to compete with Alec Anderson. So there's your guard battle, right? And we'll see what happens there. They brought in Trent Sherfield, another wide receiver who doesn't solve our wide receiver problems at all. I think that they believe that DJ Moore is that solution. And I don't disagree. I also don't fully agree yet. I want to see how it looks. It's got to look good. And so these players that were brought in, they were brought in for a reason, likely depth for three of them. The offensive lineman signings kind of puts the Bills in a weird spot. We'll get to that. But Damar Hamlin, again, we know exactly who Damar Hamlin is, and we love him for his story and for being a loyal and passionate Bill. But he's 28, and he hasn't developed into a starting safety, so he's likely not ever going to develop into a starting safety. And so his best bet is probably to try and stick around in Buffalo for as long as he can, to extend his career as long as he can, and keep collecting checks and contributing in whatever way the team sees fit. So Damar Hamlin, I don't mind the signing. It's just underwhelming. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not. It's that word, overwhelming and underwhelming. Those words confuse me, because what's just whelming? It's like you have under this and over that, but what is that? Just whelmed. But yeah, Damar Hamlin, I'm just whelmed by it. Now, the next player. Nope, we don't want that. Is Trent Sherfield. Wide receiver Trent Sherfield makes his way back to Buffalo. He comes back after leaving and going to the Vikings for a little while, and he played a couple other teams. But Trent Sherfield is a reliable wide receiver 5. He can see the field, he can play, he can catch. He doesn't produce a lot on the stat sheet, but he does block very well. And with Gabe Davis and with Tyrell Shavers both out with late ACL tears, and Davis is not on the team as of now, but if he was healthy, we might bring him back, at a low cost. With those two guys unavailable for this coming season, most likely, you bring in a Trent Sherfield, who can block and who can actually produce in the passing game if you need somebody to help. So you go and you get yourself a familiar face, you bring in Trent Sherfield, and bada boom, you got a guy. But hang on. I got a like from a Deion Dawkins. If that's the Deion Dawkins, that's awesome. But yeah, Trent Sherfield's not over or underwhelming either. He's a signing. And on the roster right now, it's DJ Moore, it's Khalil Shakir, it's Keon Coleman, it's Joshua Palmer, and now Trent Sherfield is on the roster. So you bring in a guy who you believe can, A, potentially make the team, and B, help in some way, shape, or form. I think that Trent Sherfield is a guy that people underestimate his true value. But, I mean, also on the roster, they have Jalen Virgil. They have Tyrell Shavers, who's on injured reserve. He's not going to be available this year. Cole Hardman Jr., who, is going to be in competition there. Steven Gosnell, mostly camp guys who are probably going to be put on the practice squad, or let go. But, guys like Jalen Virgil who have some speed, you just never know. Maybe he has a breakout, but he's 27. Trent Sherfield's, 30. So it is what it is. But, coming out of Vanderbilt, 6'1", 205, Trent Sherfield is a guy that can give you some blocks down the field and help your running game out. Now, I'm happier that Trent is back. Me too, because, look, some of the plays he made for the Buffalo Bills were outstanding. He made some outstanding plays like that in the playoffs. Like, he helped us beat the Dolphins in the playoffs. Like, the Bills' offense struggled in that game. The Dolphins' defense actually was putting it on the Bills. Josh, I think, threw one touchdown in that game. It might have been two. But, it was a ball that was batted in the air, and Trent Sherfield reaches up, grabs the ball, 2 toes down, scores a touchdown for us. Amazing player. See, I heard Trent Sherfield can also play special teams. He can play special teams. He is a very good special teamer. And we lost some special teams guys. We lost Reggie Gilliam. We lost damn, I'm brain farting on some of these guys that we lost that played teams. Shavers played teams. He's out for the year. Yeah. So we lost some teamers. They went and signed a few. So I'm okay with that. You don't want to get burnt on special teams. Like, one of the worst things to have happen is Josh Allen goes down the field, scores a game-winning touchdown, what would be, and then you allow the team to kick, return a kick return all the way to the house for a touchdown. That would suck. That does suck. I've seen it happen. I did it in Madden to some dude a couple weeks ago. Pretty hilarious. He thought he had the game in the bag, and we were in overtime. He scored a touchdown, and then I took it all the way back for a touchdown, and then threw the 2-point conversion for the win. Those things can happen, and you hate to see it. Now, hoping Gore Jr. can make the roster. I like Frank Gore Jr. I've liked what I've seen from him on the field when he's gotten on the field. When we played the Jets last game of the year, he saw the field. He got a pass. He's got a good football IQ. He's not really the traits guy. Right? He's not super fast. He's not super powerful. He's not super big. He's not super anything, but he is pretty intelligent when it comes to toting that rock, finding the hole, finding the gaps in the defense, finding a gap in coverage. Frank Gore Jr. can do a lot of different things. He's a solid player, but he's, I would compare him kind of to Devin Singletary in ceiling, probably. His ceiling is probably Devin Singletary, but his floor is down there. But I don't think it really is that low. I think that he's a guy who could make this roster. Maybe they don't carry a fullback. Maybe they don't carry Calicula too, and then they keep 4 running backs with Frank Gore Jr. coming back. I haven't been super pumped with Ray Davis this past year. The first year Ray Davis was making some crazy plays, but this past year he was mostly kick returner, and a damn good one. So hopefully our new special teams coach can utilize him there. But Frank Gore Jr. is definitely a guy who I think could make positive contributions on this roster. Does he make the roster? I don't know. But it would be fun for him to make the roster. I just hope that doesn't mean that there's a negative connotation that goes with, like, the Bills roster is so weak that Frank Gore Jr. can make the team. But if he goes out there and he just shows that, hey, I can do this, and he earns a spot, then, cool. Because every year we have a darling that we hope makes the roster. Frank Gore Jr. has been that guy for a little while now. I'm trying to straighten out this camera. That's better. But yeah, I like Jr. Now, again, Trent Sherfield, not a lot to say for him statistically. There's just not. But the blocking and the team's work, excellent. And again, he can make you a nice play here or there. Come on. It's like, for his career, he's only got, 1,034 yards and 6 touchdowns. But that's not what his game really is. He's made a living in the NFL being on special teams and being able to, contribute in other ways. So let's hope that signing, bears fruit, and that he's able to help the team whenever possible, and that he and Josh can, maintain a little semblance of the chemistry that they, may have built last time he was here. Now, the next player that we brought in is the one that really kind of throws me off a little bit, and that's Lloyd Cushenberry. And the reason why it throws me off is because now we have like 5 guys that can play center, right? You got Connor McGovern starting center. You have Alex Van Pran Granger, Alec Anderson. Oh, no, Cedric Van Pran Granger. Sorry. Cedric Van Pran Granger, Alec Anderson, and then Austin Corbett. All 5 of those guys can play center. Now, 3 of those guys are basically center only, and that's Van Pran Granger, Lloyd Cushenberry, and Connor McGovern is guard and center. Corbett is guard and center. Anderson, guard, center, and tackle. So, like Alec Anderson held it down when I believe it was against Pittsburgh. And we had like the biggest running game of any team that ever played in Pittsburgh. It was crazy. But, he held his own. He did well. So I liked what I saw out of Alec Anderson, but we'll see what happens. But it's just odd to me to have so many guys that can play center. Now, does that matter? I guess not. But if you're starting Connor McGovern at center, let's say moving him to guard is an option, but I don't know if they're exploring that option. But I don't think that Lloyd Cushenberry really gives me any value in putting Connor McGovern at center so that way he can start at, or moving Connor McGovern to guard so that way Cushenberry can play center. He started before. He's been a starter, but, clearly a replacement level starter. The Cushenberry signing throws me off. It gives me camp vibes, camp body vibes. But it could also be that they're not confident in Cedric Van Pran Granger as the backup center, and they maybe plan to move on from him. So we'll see what happens there, but a bit of an odd signing to me. But nonetheless, if you want to have, depth at a position like interior offensive line, especially center, if you get a guy that goes down, which we've been super lucky, Connor McGovern hasn't really gone down. Our offensive line has been mostly healthy the last 2 years. So that's a good thing. But this one's a bit weird to me. See, maybe they will train Lloyd to play guard also. Maybe. I mean, it's possible. You can change positions at any time. I mean, look at our boy Lorenzo Alexander, right? That dude was an offensive lineman. I believe he played guard and tackle. Then he moved to defensive tackle, and it was linebacker, and then defensive end, and then linebacker off or on the ball linebacker. So he played like 5. I think it might be more positions than that. It might be more than that. He might have been a fullback at one point. So yeah, Lorenzo Alexander was, he changed positions a lot during his career. What's going from center to guard? It might be an arm length thing or a height weight thing, but I don't know. I don't know. So if I go here, center, boom, Lloyd Cushenberry. He's 6'4", 315, so he could play guard at his size. So it's not a height and weight thing. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but we'll see what happens there. Just like everything else on the roster, we're going to have to wait and see and just hope that the Buffalo Bills can scout. This could be a guy that we look to trade, like we did. We had a couple of offensive linemen at one point. Millhouse? I don't remember their names, but there were a couple of offensive linemen that we had that we weren't going to keep, and then we were able to get, late round pick for them. Maybe that's the case. So we'll have to wait and see on Lloyd Cushenberry, but I'm not positive about, how that's going to go down. Last guy. 1 second, guys. All right. So last guy that we signed is center/guard Austin Corbett. Now he's coming from the Carolina Panthers. He is not part of the Carolina connection that we've experienced with Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane. He was originally with, I believe, the Titans, and then he ended up he played into a second contract, but not with the Titans. Ended up with the Panthers on a 3-year, like $26 million deal, and then he signed for one more year where he's had some injuries. That's the part that concerns me with this signing. But if he can stay healthy, I'd say he's about on the level of David Edwards when we picked him up. Right? He started a lot of games. He started a lot of games in the NFL. He's been a guy that can produce. So if he can stay healthy and give us, close to what David Edwards did, I'm not super concerned because he's not a super physically imposing guy. Austin Corbett. He's not a super imposing guy. He's not super powerful, but he doesn't get pushed back a lot. Good player. But the injuries. Now, I'm pulling up his PFF profile because he's the one guy who I believe that the Buffalo Bills could start this year. He's 6'4", 305 pounds. He's 30 years old. He had a PFF grade last year of 67.2. Pretty good. Run blocking grade, 66.7. Pretty good. Pass blocking grade, 60.9. Pretty good. He was on a pretty terrible offensive line for the Panthers. We exposed the Panthers' offensive line when we played them. We beat them, 40-9? So, yeah. But he's taken snaps at left guard, center, and right guard this past year, mainly because that line was injured and struggling. But he comes to the Bills looking to compete for a job. And, sometimes players go to a team because they believe that they have a chance to win that job. And if they do, then they do, But if they don't, it is what it is. Let's see. Like and share. Heck yeah, guys. Like and share. And subscribe. And comment. Yeah, join the club, baby. Kim Boomhauer. Sandra King shouting out Kim Boomhauer. Happy Palm Sunday to you and your family. Yeah. Easter's next week, huh? Holy shoot. Easter came right quick. The day of the Lord's return. Easter. But yeah, Austin Corbett's an interesting character who could, add some competition to the offensive line. I think that he has a pretty good chance of winning that job. You have him and Alec Anderson both on 1-year deals. Alec Anderson came back as a restricted free agent and was tendered by the Bills. And Corbett comes in on a 1-year deal, basically a prove-it deal, like win the job and do a good job. Maybe we'll resign you. And at 30, he's probably got 3 to 4, solid years left, if that, Maybe he's got none. Maybe he's done. But we'll have to wait and see. But guys, those are the 4 guys that we brought in. Not a ton to talk about with these guys, but I think that, healthy competition at all positions is good. I don't think DeMar Hamlin really brings competition at safety. I think that's basically, as of right now, Cole Bishop starting, and then pencil in C.J. Gardner-Johnson starting. And then if one of those 2 guys goes down and needs some relief, you then send in Geno Stone as the third safety. And then DeMar Hamlin's basically break glass in case of emergency, unless we draft a safety. And then he's going to have to compete for a roster spot. So we'll see what happens there too. Because this draft is stock full with safeties. And so I'm hoping that we do something at safety. Let's see. And so we'll do a mock draft before I get out of here. And before we let you guys go. Austin could be depth at guard also. He could be depth at guard. So if he doesn't win the job, he's a solid depth at all 3 interior offensive line positions. Solid depth at all 3. So it's not a lost cause, bringing him in and having solid depth. But he could start. And the Bills could also draft, an offensive lineman. They could draft one late like they did, Wyatt Teller, and that guy could shine. So it hasn't really been their strong suit drafting offensive linemen late, other than Wyatt Teller, but they have had some strong late round picks. Christian Benford, Matt Milano, nice little list of guys who come in 5th round, 6th round, 7th round. Khalil Shakir, and contributed. So we're going to see what happens. Let me go ahead and pull up our mock draft simulator. Share screen. Boop. Boop. We're going all 7 rounds, baby. Gonna slow it down a little bit. We want careful positional value to be more than usual. Randomness down. We want teams to do what they most likely should do. Draft for needs. We'll scale that back just a tad. And boom, put this up. Take that down. And here we are. Banners. Sorry, Bruce. Now, here we are. Mock drafting. Oh, good God, I'm sore. We are entering the draft. We have pick 26, and we will start the draft. 4, 5, 6. All right, so 10 players down. Fernando Mendoza, Ruben Bain Jr. to the Jets. That's wow. Okay. Sonny Styles to the Cardinals. Not a surprise. Arvel Reese to the Titans. Not a surprise. David Bailey to the Giants. That would be crazy. Him and Abdul Carter. That'd be crazy bookends. The Browns taking Jeremiah Love is a little bit wild to me because, Quishon Judkins, but he did get hurt this year, and you never want to have too many weapons, right? And if you have a 2-headed monster in the backfield, why not? You have Carnell Tate at wide receiver going to the Commanders. Maui Noah to the Saints at tackle. They do need some offensive line help to protect Tyler Shuck. And the Chiefs draft Mansour Delane to replace Trent McDuffie, who they shipped off. And Caleb Downs, safety to the Bengals, who just lost Geno Stone, but their defense, they need some blue chippers. So you go and get the best player available. That's good on them. Next 10 picks. Now, at 11, the Miami Dolphins take tight end Kenyon Sadiq. They do need offensive weapons. They did ship off Jalen Waddle, and they lost Tyreek Hill. They cut him loose. So he's a free agent. Want the Bills to stay far away from that, but if they brought him in, I'd be shocked. And, at 12, the Cowboys take Dylan Theinman at safety. They do need secondary help. The Rams bring in Monroe Freeling to help protect Matthew Stafford and then whoever the future quarterback's going to be. The Ravens take Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. Now, this one confuses me a little bit because they're known for taking really good receivers, but they're also known for bringing in guys who are injury-prone, right? Guys who've gotten hurt quite a bit. Hollywood Brown, sticks to mind. Zay Flowers comes to mind. Bateman has been injured. So to bring in a guy who's been injured in college, that's a little wild to me, but it's okay. Jermon McCoy goes to the Buccaneers. Olaiba Vega Ioni goes to the Jets at offensive line, which they need offensive line help. So they got offensive and defensive line in the first round. Makai Lemon goes to the Lions at 17, which throws me off a little bit because the Lions have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is their number one wide receiver, but he's really the number one out of the slot for the most part. He plays a lot in the slot. Then tackle Spencer Fano to the Vikings, who need to be able to protect their quarterback, whoever that's going to be. Probably Kyler Murray now. The Panthers take wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. from the Indiana Hoosiers, who has been mocked to the Buffalo Bills quite a bit. The Panthers do need some more wide receiver help. They've been taking some swings. Last year, they hit on Ted McMillan. The Xavier Legette swing doesn't look so good. A lot of Bills fans wanted Xavier Legette, and we didn't get him. We got Keon Coleman instead, and Keon's played better, but it's kind of a wash, just with the way that things have gone with Keon Coleman. So we'll see what happens. And then the Cowboys at 20 take C.J. Allen. So they are addressing the interior of that defense, safety and linebacker. Safety is kind of, interior deep. And then you got the intermediate here at linebacker. They get themselves a very, very good Very instinctive, very powerful inside linebacker. I don't know if they run a 3-4 or a 4-3, but I believe it's a 4-3 because they went and got Quinnen Williams and then Clark from the Packers. So their interior defensive linemen are outstanding. Now you get a linebacker who can play behind them, go sideline to sideline. That's a very interesting pick. Not interesting because it's surprising, but interesting because, you know, people have him queued up to the Bills as well. A lot of these guys here, you know, have been linked to the Bills if they fall there. Jordan Tyson, Omar Cooper Jr., and C.J. Allen specifically. So now we're going to sim to the Bills pick and see who's on the board when we get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So the Steelers go safety, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, and then the Chargers go edge rusher to pair up with a guy from University of Buffalo's brain fart from hell. Jeez. Anyway, we come back to the comments and see what you guys have to say. Izzy, what's good, my brother? What's up, Joey? Welcome back. I'm taking McDonald 26. I like Cade McDonald a lot too. Cade McDonald, look, you guys ain't wrong here. I'm just looking at who's been taken. Emmanuel McNeil Warren has also been linked to the Bills in some mock drafts. Cassius Howell here at 23. Who the heck is the guy whose name I'm forgetting here? Khalil Mack. There we go. Khalil Mack. Now, I've seen mock drafts where Cassius Howell and Keldrick Falk have both fallen to the Bills, and they've drafted him in some mock drafts. Blake Miller is a tackle. The Bills aren't looking at tackles right now. We have 2 bookend tackles that we're not worried about that position as of yet. We could look at a tackle later in the draft, as the Bills typically tend to take offensive linemen a little later for depth. 26, we have cornerback Avion Terrell, who I saw mocked to the Bills once. I think it was Mel Kiper, and I was like, what are you talking about, Mel? We've got our 3 starting corners locked down, right? We've got D. Alford in the nickel. Then we have Christian Benford and Maxwell Hairston on the outside. So we need depth at corner, but we don't need another starter, right? We don't need a tackle on Caden Proctor and Caden McDonald right here. And so if Caden McDonald's here, I'm running to the podium. Boom. There we go. So now we don't pick again until round 3. 91 overall pick. Casey Concepcion went to the Giants. All right. Well, that sucks. Mostly because they suck, but not the point. I'll be right back. Give me one moment. All right. Need a sip of water for a while now. Wow, Garrett Nussmeier went. Now, here's a guy I like. Wide receiver Deion Burks, University of Oklahoma. This past year, put up 617 yards and 4 tutties. He is 5'9", 188, so he's more of a speed guy. I like him, but I don't love him. LT Overton from Alabama, I do like as well. Karen Crawford from Auburn, I also like. Going down the list a little bit, Ted Hurst from Georgia State is a sleeper of a player. He had a great year, 999 yards, 6 touchdowns. Last year, he put up 961 yards and 9 touchdowns. 6'3", 195. Tell you what, these guys, Georgia State, not Georgia Tech. This guy is a sleeper pick. He could fall in the draft more, but I do like Ted Hurst. Going down the list a little bit more, we have Malachi Fields, who I'm not fond of anymore. I was before the combine. He runs a 4.6 something. I'm like, I know Stevie Johnson ran like a 4.67, but Stevie Johnson also has some of the best footwork ever in the NFL, ever recorded. Jay Sean Barham, I really like out of Michigan. He's a good player. And we still need a linebacker. Keyshawn Elliott out of Arizona State's right here. And Dante Corleone right here. So he's a guy who they have as 107. Pull him up. He played in 10 games this past year. He had 1 QB hit, 7 hurries. Didn't record a sack this year. 6'1", 335. Right? I think this is a little bit rich for my blood. For Dante Corleone, I would not want to do that. That feels like a Torrell Troop signing. If you ask me, I don't know if you guys remember Torrell Troop. We drafted him 1 pick before Rob Gronkowski. Let's see what you guys think. Ted Hurst, I saw his highlights. He's got some injury problems, but other than that, he's great. Yeah. Defensive end or linebacker next. See, McDonald's should have been the first pick. He was the first pick. Yeah, McDonald was the first pick. Boom. See? Defensive lineman, Ohio State, K. McDonald. So now, Caleb Banks. I don't know. See, I went from YouTube to Facebook. Who did we take? Kid McDonald. All right. So now we're caught up here. Ted. Okay, already read that one. And defensive end or linebacker. I agree with that. I like Overton here. Let me look at his size. 6'5", 278. I think the Bills might be looking for more of a bendy guy. So Crawford might be that. 6'4", 255. More of a flexible Nick Bonito type of guy. So I think I might go with this guy right here. I really like him. Now, Overton, I do like as well, but we have Greg Rousseau. We have Michael Hoyt. We have the big 270-pound, 6'6" guys. We need that 6'3", 6'4", 255-pound speed demon coming off the edge, and that is Kieran Crawford. So that is our guy out of Auburn, Kieran Crawford. Hopefully we have a nice linebacker that falls to us at our next pick, 126. Oh, Lord have mercy. So you see his name on the top 10 at his position, Corleone. I do like Corleone, but, you know, it is what it is. See who's still here. Quarterback, cornerback, tackle, running back, tight end. We're running out of guys here. Bo Stevens at guard. I like him. Iowa. I like the Hawkeyes, man. When it comes to offensive linemen, no better school. He allowed 0 sacks this past year. He allowed 0 QB hits. He allowed 4 hurries in the Big Ten. 6'5", 315. These guys, just no analysis on anybody. Lord have mercy. The draft's around the corner, guys. Get on it. Bo Stevens is a guy I like on the interior of the offensive line. Oregon linebacker Bryce Botcher. Don't like the last name, but I did like what I saw of him on the field. 6'2", 232, so good size for a middle linebacker. He's about to be 24 years old, so he's probably one of the last guys from that COVID crap that was going on. Let's see. He's a real long edge rusher. Yes, sir, he is. Real long edge rusher. Let's see. Do I take the linebacker or do I take the guard? Let's see who's left at linebacker. And guard. So we have Bo Stevens and Botcher, and we have center. No, thank you. Taurine York, linebacker. And we have guard here later at 164, who might be there when we draft. Caleb Alarms, or if they really believe in freaking Dorian Williams, they could wait on linebacker, but I'm not sure. Aiden Fisher from Indiana, I like him quite a bit. I remember watching him play in the national championship and throughout the season. Pretty good guy. 6'1", 231. It's a little short, but just a little bit. If you look at Bryce Botcher, I believe he's 6'3", 6'2". I think I'm going to go with the linebacker here, Bryce Botcher. Let's see how everything falls. Bo went to the Raiders, who definitely need interior offensive line. They need offensive line help, period. Ooh. They did just pick up a center. They picked up the dude from the Ravens, Tyler Linderbaum. And we are up on the board. We have a guard right here. We need a guard. We have some wide receivers here. We have a potential backup quarterback in Cade Klubnik, who I like but don't love. 6'2", 210. He's an athlete. He can move. He can scoot quite a bit. He's got a solid deep ball. I don't feel he reads the field very well, but that can be taught and learned from. Wide receiver Kevin Coleman, which I've seen a lot of praise for him, but also his name is really close to Keon Coleman, even though he's nothing like Keon Coleman. 5'11", 180. Not that type of player. Definitely not similar to him in any capacity. Then you have the guard, Jeremiah Wright, out of Auburn. 6'5", 348, big fat guy in the middle. Help, run block and pass block. Compete for the spot there. Just because he's a fourth round pick or fifth round pick doesn't mean he can't play. We've seen this happen a lot. Alec Anderson, I believe, was undrafted. Safety Michael Taff, I like a lot. I really, really, really like safety Michael Taff out of Texas. 6 foot, 189. He's a senior. He's 23 years old. I really like him. You bring him in, you develop him behind Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and just wait for the dividends to come through. So for me, it's between Jeremiah Wright and Michael Taff. What say you? All right. Red Murdoch, linebacker, should be available later. Malik Benson, wide receiver. Bryce Lance, wide receiver. Are you saying all those guys should be available later? Let me take a look. You name receivers and linebackers. Let's go ahead and sort this out. Wide receiver, linebacker. And the names you gave me were Malik Benson, Bryce Lance, Murdoch. Lance Benson Murdoch. Murdoch out of Buffalo. Malik Benson, wide receiver, Oregon. He said Lance. Lance might have gone already. All right. I'm going to go with the I'm going to go with the more valuable player, two positions that we need for the future. Guard. We also don't know what's going on with Cedric Van Prank Granger, and we picked quite quickly after. So Michael Taff is gone. Damn it, he went right before us. Damn it. And DJ Campbell sitting right here. Could have had Taff and DJ Campbell. That is Dixon. Linebacker Aiden Fisher from Indiana, still here. Need a linebacker? Welcome to Buffalo, buddy. So far, we have drafted defensive lineman Caden McDonald, edge rusher Kayron Crawford, linebacker Bryce Botcher. Drafted two linebackers, Jeremiah Wright and Aiden Fisher. All right. So who are we getting next? Cade Klubnik still here. Tackle, wide receiver, Jeff Caldwell, Cincinnati. I've heard some good things about this kid. He had... Okay, so that must have been about his size then. because his numbers aren't that great. Let's see. Halfback, center, tight end, linebacker. We got enough linebacker. Don't need a tight end. We got guard already. See if we can find a safety. Cole Wisniewski. I've heard of him too. Coverage grade. Oh yeah, Texas Tech defense. That's why I heard of him. Had an awesome defense this year. So he had a good year in 2023. He missed all of 2024, and then he came back and had a pretty good year this year too. His 2023 year was his best year, but this past year he played in 14 games. He had 808 snaps. Wow. 5 rushes of the passer. He played on 302 running snaps, 501 passing snaps. He had 56 tackles, 20 assisted tackles, and 9 missed tackles. Okay, which is down from 2023. So we have that safety, and then we have Bishop Fitzgerald out of USC. I've heard of him too. Very good grade this past year. Coverage grade 90.8. Okay. 5'11", 205. That's a toughie. Man. Has he been hurt? Nope. And he's improved every freaking year. I'm going to take the guy who progresses. Bishop Fitzgerald, 5th round safety. Let's go. We're in round 6. The Buffalo Bills only have one more pick left at 220. Let's see if we can make it count. Murdoch just went to the Rams. Damn it. Round 7. We are on the board. Eli Heidenreich. They have him listed as a fullback. He's not a fullback. He's a pass-catching running back. 6 foot 206. He's not a fullback. I'm sorry. You'd bring him in, and he'd be a guy who competes with Ty Johnson for receiving back. He's not a fullback at all. You have another safety in Isaiah Nwokobia from SMU. His first 2 years were better than this year. He played 12 games this year. He had 15 missed tackles. I need my safeties to be good at tackling. So no, thank you. Jaden Kennedy, solid year for Oregon. Coverage grade 88.0. He is 5'11", 185, so most likely a slot guy. I'm gonna look him up real quick. Copy. Since PFF is slipping on their breakdowns of these guys, look and see if I have some better analysis. Jaden Kennedy. He is a dual role press man coverage receiver, so inside and out. He had 2 interceptions this year, 6 passes defended, 39 tackles, 18 of them solo. He is... Where's his age? Doesn't have his age. That's weird. He ran a 4.47 40. Okay, I like that. Let's see. So he's a candidate for my last pick here. Also, Robert Spears Jennings, Oklahoma. They usually produce pretty good players. Copy. Wow, coverage grade is awful. Nope. Dane Key, wide receiver from Nebraska. 6'3", 210. Let's see what he's about. As of right now, Kennedy is my favorite for this pick. Dane Key, Nebraska. Looks like he might have played for Kentucky before. 6'3", 210. He had 39 receptions for 452 yards, 5 touchdowns. He ran a 4.5 240, so not the fastest, but you know, it's a 6th-round receiver. I think I'm gonna take the corner. Jaden Kennedy. Boom. Final pick. Let's go. Let's see what our draft grade is. All right, so saying Deion Burks had a higher grade than Karen Crawford. I don't care. Deion Burks is, I believe, a slot receiver, and the Bills. I'm gonna go ahead and pull him up. The Bills have enough of that. Like we have enough of that. Deion Burks, 5'10", 180, ran a 4.340. That's impressive. Multi-role receiver, so he can play inside and out. I might have missed one here. I might have whiffed. But okay. Otherwise, I got A, B minus, B, A minus, B. Bishop Fitzgerald, they gave me a C on that one. I disagree. And then a C plus, a B overall draft. Not bad. Not bad. I didn't even read your comment. I didn't even see it because I was in the draft board thing and looking at the players. I guess you and I are of the same mindset when it comes to the Buffalo Bills roster. We need some help in the secondary. So, yeah, awesome. Good players, John Robert. Yes, sir. He named some good guys, and I was trying to get one of them. I was trying to get Malik Murdoch from Buffalo, but I had already drafted 2 linebackers, and man, oh man. Maybe I'll do one more. You know what? The hell with it. Well, let's do one more. Let's go ahead and save image as 329 Mach 1.0. We'll just say 1. I don't know what the .0 is for. Okay. One more. New mock draft. 7 rounds. Slow it down again. And this one, I think I'm going to make it a priority to trade back and acquire more picks. Position value, yes. Randomness, nah. Oh, we can turn it up just a little bit. Have a little fun. And boom. Entering the draft. We're going to start the draft. Goes to Bailey, Styles, Mott Love, Reese, Maui Noah, Fanu, got Lemon. Diamond to the Jets. That's interesting. Okay, so we're at our pick here. The Bears took Omar Cooper Jr. right before us. Those damn Bears. So Bailey goes second overall to the Jets. Then Sonny Styles goes to the Cardinals. Jeremiah Love goes to the Titans. That would make sense. You give Cam Ward running back. You don't have Derrick Henry anymore, so you give him the best back in this draft. At receiving and running. Awesome player. Arvell Reese to the Giants would be freaking nuts. Master Delane to the Browns. Maui Noah goes to the Commanders. Ruben Bain Jr. goes to the Saints. Carnell Tate ends up a Chief. That would be crazy. Caleb Downs still goes to the Bengals. Vega Ione goes to the Dolphins. They need to invest in that offensive line before they even thinking about bringing in a true quarterback. They brought in Malik Willis. Get him some protection. Buy them condoms. Spencer Fanu, tackle, goes to the Cowboys. Smart. Dak needs help. He needs protection. Makai Lemon to the Rams. Insanity. Puka Nakua. Makai Lemon in the slot. And then you have Devontae Adams. That would be absolute lunacy. That would probably definitely make them Super Bowl favorites. Akeem Mesidor goes to the Ravens. Smart. Get you an edge rusher. Keldrick to pair with, Henderson that you just acquired, who's 31. You get you a nice young edge rusher who can learn from the guy who's, probably going to be there for 3 years, and then you draft another one. Edge Keldrick Falk from Auburn goes to the Bucks. Dylan Diamond to the Jets. Interesting. Kenyon Sadiq to the freaking Lions. Wow. Okay. Monroe Freeling to the Vikings. Avion Terrell goes early in this one. And then the Cowboys still get Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Or no, the last one I got Theinman. Who'd they get this one? Yeah, they got Spencer Fonda. Okay, so you get a tackle and a safety. Nice. Bills are on the board. CJ Allen sticking out to me. Cassius Howell sticking out to me. Caden McDonald sticking out to me. There's a lot of guys, edge rushers and defensive linemen who are still on the board. Caleb Banks is on the board still. 330-pound big fat bastard in the middle, 23 years old. Let's see who wants to trade. We are at pick 30. The Seahawks at 32 want to move up. The Titans at 35 want to move up. I would like to try and stay in the first round if at all possible. So we'll go 32 and 64 for 26. That's not going to happen. Okay. So the Titans at 35. Boom. We're 35 and 66. And 101, we'll give you 91. Shoot, give me that one too then. Not accepted. Okay. Want some more late capital. There we go. 67% chance. Boom. So we give them 26.91. We get 35, 66, 101, and 184. Hell yeah. Add 2 more picks to the draft, and we are moving. We only moved back 9 slots. So let's hope that some of our guys are still there. Cassius Howell and Peter Woods. Peter Woods from Clemson. 6'3", 210. He's not 310. He's not really a nose. Wide receiver Casey Concepcion. And edge rusher Cassius Howell. Let me know what you guys think. Josiah Trotter, Peter Woods. Okay, I see. So on the board now that we've traded back, the guys we're looking at, Cassius Howell, edge rusher, Texas A&M, 6'2", 248. So that lean, bendy guy off the edge, the Nick Bonito type that everybody says that we should be looking for to pair up with the guys we got, learn from some of the older guys we got. He had 12 sacks this past year, 2 QB hits, 27 hurries, 3 batted balls. Really good overall grade. Pass rush grade of a 90.3. That's hard to pass up. That's really hard to pass up. But also Casey Concepcion's here. Who else is here at receiver? Jesus. Chris Bell, who I really like. Jeremy Bernard, Chris Brazel. So maybe one of those guys falls to us. Antonio Williams, I do like a lot from Clemson. Freaking 5'11", 190. Let me go ahead and pull up his information real quick. Ran a 4.4 140 at the combine. Slot receiver. Nope, never mind. I like him a lot, but I don't want a slot receiver. Elijah Surratt, Zachariah Branch, Deion Burks will be there at 66 if we want him. Ooh. Brendan Thompson, we could get later in the draft. CJ Daniels from Miami. 6'2", 205. Let me see what his numbers look like. Ran a 4.4 40. He's a senior. His 40 is not official. It's not a combine 40. It's an estimated 40. We don't go by those. So, all right. So I think that I'm comfortable here going with Cassius Howell, edge rusher from Texas A&M. Let's see who stays on the board for us. Malachi Fields went. Oh, 66 is a third-round pick. Okay. So, Bryce Lance, North Dakota State. I've heard some things about him. 6'3", 209. Stats, he had 1080 yards, 8 touchdowns. He's a guy that we could look at. Bryce Lance. Oh, that's Trey Lance's brother. That's why I've heard of him. Because at the combine, they actually said that's Trey Lance's brother when he was running the 40. Okay. Speaking of 40s, let's go ahead and take a look at his 40. If I remember correctly, he ran like a 4.3 something. Bryce Lance. 4.34. Bingo. And that was at the combine. I saw him at the combine. That dude is fast. He is fast. Gentlemen, I think I think we do. I think we need to get younger there, right? We have Hoyt for 2 more years. He's coming off of an Achilles. We have Chubb for 3 years. We have Rousseau. He just signed his contract. But I think an edge rusher is definitely in play for the Buffalo Bills. See, we needed a nose tackle. That's the key to the defense. I think I'm going to get Corleone a little later in the draft. All right. Let me see who else is here. Josiah Trotter is here. So Bryce Lance, Josiah Trotter. Let's see who's here at defensive tackle. Grayson Halton, Darrell Jackson, Dante Corleone. I think Dante will be there when we pick next. Pass rush grade, not great. Run block grade, or run defense grade, really good. Okay. So he's going to be my target next round. But for now, taking the receiver. Bryce Lance, welcome to Buffalo Bills. This is going to be fun. All right, come on, Corleone. Who's that I just saw? Okay. Now, Corleone went pick. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Malik Muhammad at corner, yeah. Let's look at the defensive tackles again. This might be a trade back moment. Caleb Proctor, Southern Louisiana. Wow. Okay. He's a 3-tech. So he's a 4-3 guy. He's Xavier Harris. I heard about him. Don't know that much about him. Run block or run defense grade, pretty damn good. He did have 3 sacks. And he's 6'8", 330. So that's another body type like Deion Walker, which that's not a bad thing because Deion Walker was outstanding. The only problem with Deion Walker is he's probably going to be a 5 technique or a 4-eye because he doesn't do great against double teams. And so with him not doing great against double teams, probably best to keep him at one of the outside offensive line positions of the 3 positions. Nose tackle. All right. So we have our nose tackle right here, right now. I could trade back. Let's see what trading back looks like. Before I do that, how high is it on his board? Not that high. Okay, so he's like 119. Let's see if I can get like to 115-ish. 107. So we'll take 107 and 146. We'll give you 126. No? Yeah, we're in the later round, so the value is different. Oh, what the hell? Maybe that's what it was. A bunch of picks. I can take all of their picks. That's how bad they want to move up from 107. Or, excuse me. Nope. Never mind. Okay. That was wishful thinking. I was like, hang on, what? Yeah, give me those two sevens. I'll give him 101 and 165. Ha! No, I'll give up 184 for that. So I'll get back 4 picks and give up 3. Move back and get the defensive tackle, Xavier Harris out of Ole Miss. Welcome to the Buffalo Bills. Let's see what we got. Carson Beck. We did just sign freaking Kyle Allen to be our backup quarterback. But I think we could draft a quarterback in the 5th round, 4th round. That's the 4th round. It might be a little rich for my blood to draft a quarterback. There's no one else really here at 126. Eric McAllister. 1173 yards, 10 touchdowns, 6'3", 205. We drafted a receiver already. But why wouldn't you go for another one? We need a linebacker for sure. Have not drafted one of those yet. Full draft. Okay. Is there a linebacker near here? Bryce Botcher again. Use a guard. Bo Stevens is right here staring me in the face too. Go with the offensive lineman. Fill that spot. Ooh, fell right to us. Howell, Xavier Harris on the defensive side, Bryce Lance, Bo Stevens on the offensive side. You draft another linebacker. Boom. Let's go. That was quick. So we have plenty of interior offensive linemen. Bills could take a shot on a tackle to compete for the swing tackle spot. Tylen Grable had the concussions last year. That kind of worries me a little bit. Alec Anderson can kick out to tackle, but then after that, who's your depth? This guy we drafted last year, I forget his name, out of UConn, I believe. You have 2 tackles from Texas A&M. Scroll down a little bit. You have cornerback Devin Marshall from NC State. We have some running backs, tight ends. Ephesians Prysock. I love the name. Right, biblical name. Love that name, Ephesians. Jeremiah writes here, so if we want another interior offensive line, we could do it, but not needed. Albert Regis, 317. Let's see if he's a nose or if he is a 3 or 5 tech. 295. Okay. He is a 3 tech. Okay, so now we got enough of those big guys. Cade Klubnik, Kevin Coleman, Josh Cameron, Caleb Alarm Orr. That's Austin Barber. I've heard of him. More of a right tackle with run blocking in our scheme. Otherwise, he allowed 3 sacks. He allowed 1 QB hit. Zoom allowed 2 sacks. Run block grade not so great. Pass block grade excellent. I think that's more important if you have for a backup tackle, protecting Josh Allen. This guy allowed. What's the linebacker? What am I talking about? I saw A&M twice, and I was like, tackle. Nope. All right, so we're going to go with a young swing tackle. See, Chase Lunt for depth OT. So we have Chase Lunt for depth at OT. I understand that. I don't know how good Chase Lunt actually is. He did make the roster, but physically he is measurement-wise in one of the lowest percentiles for arm length for offensive tackles. He might be better suited on the inside, but I digress. I think investing higher in the draft. This is the 5th round. Well, not higher, but mid rounds at tackle wouldn't be terrible. And there's also, like my buddy said, there's really no one here. We could look at Devin Marshall, coverage grade, run defense grade, really good. If we want to, add depth to the cornerback room, which we don't have a guy to back up Hairston and Benford. Oh. And so with no one to back up Hairston and Benford, let me see. Oh, there's nothing on this kid. Just his PFF grades. Zone coverage, outstanding. Man coverage, not so good. We're looking more of a man defense now. Okay. Let's see. Tons of running backs and tight ends. All right, I'm going with the tackle. Boom. Add more competition in that room. We lost Ryan Vandermark, and we haven't added a tackle. So here we are. At our next pick at 168, I expect to see some. There we go. Ephesians Prysock. Man coverage grade, much better. Zone coverage grade, pretty good. Run defense grade, solid. Let's take a look at his size and measurables. 6'4", 190. Holy shoot! What? Ran a 4.45 40. So faster than Benford, slower than Hairston. He did score an interception, not score on an interception, but he completed an interception. Outside zone corner. Oh yeah, he's better in zone clearly than man, but he's still solid in man. Okay. Michael Taft, safety. I like him. And you know what? I didn't get him the last time. Coverage grade through the roof. Run defense grade, pretty damn good. Right here, we get our safety. Boom. Edge rusher, D-line, linebacker, safety. It's like I'm alternating. Look, defense, offense, defense, offense, defense, offense, defense. I'm not trying to do that, but just kind of worked out that way. All right, so we are here at pick 182. We have a quarterback here. We have another safety, Jalen Stroman. Depends on how much safety depth they want to add, and or if they want to just throw a bunch of different bodies at the position. I've seen people say double dip. I say that he's going to be more of a nickel guy. Like he'll be like the dime back, basically, right? So when we go dime, two down linemen, 2 edge rushers, 1 linebacker. So you have 5 guys there. The other 6 guys will be defensive backs, and so at nickel you'll have D. Alford, and then at dime you put in Jordan Hancock, and then if something happens to D. Alford, well, then you have Jordan Hancock as your nickel back. They put him in at safety, and it didn't look like it suited him. Right? He didn't look like a suitable safety. This is a different defense, so you can move him around, but I think he's more of a nickel back. Let's see. We have another linebacker here, Trey Moore. 6'3", 249. There's another guard here. I don't think I've drafted a guard yet. I did. Bo Stevens. Okay, so not really a need. Halfback, Kalen Black. Man, Kalen Black, 5'10", 211. It's a lot of what Joe Brady likes. Let's see his college stuff. Ran a 4.45 40. So nice 40-yard dash. It's a workhorse back. It's got low mileage on him. And he is. They don't know how old he is. Okay. That's awesome. And so he didn't run the 40 at the combine, looks like. Okay. We'll keep him in mind. Let's draft another center. Hell yeah. Owen Heineke, Oklahoma. This guy keeps coming up to me. Who's that linebacker from Buffalo? Buffalo. Red Murdoch, 208. We have pick 206. Actually, let me look at his build here. Red Murdoch. Oh, whoa. Okay, run defense grade, outstanding. Holy shoot, what? No analysis there. 6'1", 240. Okay. I might wait till pick 206 for that. So we signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, starting safety, DeMar Hamlin, and the other guys. Don't remember his name. Doesn't matter. Geno Stone. There you go. As soon as I don't want to remember it, I remember it. And he signed a minimum contract as well. Bringing 2 rookie safeties from good programs and see what happens. Let him mix it up. It's not like you did with Kyrie Elam and Christian Benford, where you had a first rounder and a 6th rounder, and the 6th rounder just smokes the first rounder. All right, so here we go. See if we can get ourselves another linebacker. And he's gone. Yep, he's gone. Yep, he went to the Patriots. Oh, damn it. All right, so we are in the 6th round, backup quarterback time. or practice squad quarterback. Boom. Cade Klubnik. It's a 6th-round pick, We're here again. Cornerback. Oh, Jaden Kennedy, TJ Hall. Man coverage, not high. I think I drafted a corner, didn't I? I did not draft a corner. Some tight ends, a halfback here. Jaden Kennedy. Man coverage is pretty good. Zone coverage is a little bit better. Andre Fuller. More man coverage. Not as good in zone, but he had 1 TD on an INT. Okay. Fuller. That's Fuller, same guy. Kennedy. 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. He's at Oregon, so he's at a bigger program. All right. Well, yep, that's him. Kennedy again. Better in man coverage and really good in zone. Can't beat it. Let's see what they have to say about this mock draft now. You shut your face. All right, great job. This draft is looking good. Cassius Howell, an A. Bryce Lance, a B+. Here's the trade. The first trade. That's the only trade. Okay. No, it's the second trade, yeah. Xavier Harris, defensive lineman, Mississippi, B-. Bo Stevens, guard from Iowa, B+. Bryce Botcher, linebacker from Oregon, A. Let's go. Tackle Trey Zune III out of Texas A&M, a B. Michael Taff out of Texas, safety, B+. Safety Jalen Stroman out of Notre Dame, right after him at 178. A. Quarterback Cade Klubnik at 206. A+, and then cornerback Jaden Kennedy, a C+. Overall draft grade, an A. Let's get it. That was fun. See, CJ Gardner-Johnson has played nickel. He has, but I prefer him as either a box safety or a deep safety. He's played his best ball when he's playing deep. I didn't realize this last time I was here. I thought it was just a box safety. He's played nickel too, but he's been way better deep. And when I looked at the tape and when I looked at the statistics, he is a ball hawk. Last time I said I don't know, it's because the most recent tape, he's not been played deep, which is kind of why he's been bounced around a little bit. But when he went to Philly, they played him deep. He was the deep safety. So CJ Gardner-Johnson, I think, is going to be a deep safety, allowing Cole Bishop to either play deep with him in cover 2 or cover 4, or then they could also put Cole Bishop in the box if they're running single high safety, in a cover 3 or cover 1. So, or a cover 9, cover 6. So any of those defenses would require one high safety, and then, your corner can cover deep, or your second safety could also cover deep. It just depends on how you're running your cover 6. But man, CJ Gardner-Johnson playing deep, yes. Give me some of that. All right, on Twitter. Twitter's dominating the views. So mock draft. Let's go ahead and download the image. And that is that. Boom. Boom, boom. Let's go ahead and put this back on. All right, guys. It's been fun. We did 2 mock drafts, one with 0 trades and one where we traded where it was necessary. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. See you guys back here next week. And as you know, as always, in the words of the great and powerful Josh Allen, be good, do good, God bless. Go Bills. Love you guys.